Hey, how's it going, guys? We are back with more reactions for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and this is the end of the first season. This is the end of season one. To think how far we've come, I think it's only really been 12 episodes. I think that still kind of shocks me, just a little bit. I think for quite a few reasons, the kind of seasonal length kind of shocks me, but I am fully in favor of shorter seasons if that helps the story, and I think in this case it very much has. It very much has. I think with this one, I think they've had honestly a really pleasant and very comfortable mix of actual kind of story arc and kind of like more kind of weekly spontaneous kind of monster of the week type stuff and like filler type stuff as well. Even like filler that has been beneficial and everything. But I think even nowadays, I think the deep kind of meaning of filler has kind of been kind of lost in the kind of mist and everything. So, but yeah, either way, it's the end of season one. Yeah, I think it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride, and I have nothing but gratitude to all of you who have joined me on this ride and introduced me and welcomed me in with open arms and everything. It's been so much fun. It has been so much damn fun. I did not anticipate that I'd actually get into the show as quickly or as easily as I did. I think I kind of I guess part of me kind of expected like a kind of like more cheesiness to it than I was kind of able to endure. But I think there's been a cheesiness like an expected amount, but then for the most part it's still been like a really wacky and fun and kind of ass kicking kind of fantasy kind of adventure type thing, which is again it's right up my alley. It's really my kind of thing. So. Buffy is one of the gold ones. Buffy is one of the golden kind of shows of the kind of bygone era. I think if you could even call it a bygone era, but yeah, it's been great. So yeah, season one. So this is the last episode. So last time, episode 11, we had the Invisible Girl. I think her name was Marcy Ross. Marcy Ross, like the kind of girl who kind of like the girl who was ignored and neglected in school so much that the kind of energies and mystical kind of powers from the Hellmouth actually managed to kind of phase like actually twist her kind of quantum state and turn her invisible literally and everything, which she kind of which she in the midst of her own anger and rage and vengefulness, she kind of used for her own gain and started attacking people closest to Cordelia in an attempt to get close to her. In the end, she was someone who kind of, frequently came into contact with Cordelia and her kind of posse and tried to interact with them and tried to engage with them, but then them being them, they pushed her away. And then even worse, like even like in class, like her teachers would neglect her and she just wouldn't really kind of be, interacted with by the world around her. So then, she felt, metaphorically invisible, but then slowly, thanks to the Hellmouth, she turned literally invisible and then used that to her advantage. So that was, a fun story to get into. So then I think that also then gave us like a nice kind of Cordelia centric episode and actually showed off. I mean, it mostly showed off Cordelia in her usual kind of, you know, like in her usual kind of what's the word like aggravating kind of. It's a very specific word I'm looking for, and as per usual, I'm just not good at actually remembering what words are. In her in her usual aggravating and just yeah, I guess just aggravating. I really can't think of the word right now. I had it and then it disappeared. So yeah, so like in that usual kind of state of her, so where she's just kind of like self-absorbed and obsessed and kind of just kind of like believes and acts as if everything revolves around her. And like even in the midst of actually hunting a kind of semi supernatural entity, she was still kind of obsessed with herself and what would happen to her and what it would mean for her. We got the slightest kind of scene that kind of showed off Cordelia in like a more vulnerable and more kind of exposed kind of state where she admitted that this kind of reputation and mantle that she'd built up for herself of being the kind of not the prom queen, but the literal kind of May queen in this sense, and being the kind of all popular girl of the school, and actually kind of being the kind of decider of the arbitrary social status of the entire school and everything like that kind of position she'd built up for herself wasn't the most comfortable one for her. She kind of still felt lonely, even being surrounded by people who weren't really friends, but just still. I mean, she even identified them as like not really being real friends who actually knew her, but then actually still kind of like following her around and just agreeing with whatever she said and actually feeling like deep down no one really knew her, no one really understood her. She just kind of built this up, as a thing for herself for whatever reason. So we had that, and then at the end of it, thanks to Mitch and his kind of attachment to her own kind of like kind of facaded kind of personality, she reverted back to what she was. But I think the fact that side of her is there deep down kind of definitely kind of shows a lot of promise and potential for her character going forward. So hopefully they do some good things with her. Hopefully they actually do the right thing with her. You know, because I think even after all that, I think I still don't kind of like hate her. I still don't like, you know, I don't like, you know, want her to leave. I don't wish death upon her or anything. Like she just, I think, you know, I think what they've pretty much done there is pretty much just kind of like showcase, you know, because I mean I'm pretty sure like there can definitely be kind of, especially teenagers like that in real life and personalities like that. Maybe, I mean, for the show, it could be argued that it's being kind of like dramatized for effect and everything, but you know, there are people who are like that in real life, and you know that like, obviously most of the time you just kind of tend not to associate with them, or you know, interact with them in any way. But then with the show, obviously for the story purposes, kind of has to happen. But either way, again, yeah, either way, a great Cordelia, a great Cordelia centric episode, and with Marcy too. So that was really fun. And in the end, Marcy, I think she was arrested by the FBI. The like two Men in Black guys had been kind of clouding the school pretty much the entire episode, like here and there, and like popping up here and there as she watching the school. And then at the very end, when Marcy had been defeated by Buffy, they came in just in the nick of time to actually capture her and take her away. Under the guise, I'm still not believing their FBI. I'm still not believing their FBI. They could, I mean, well, not the FBI, not the FBI. The public actually knows about. Maybe like a more like even if they're FBI, like an actual secret division of the FBI that kind of covers more X-Files-y type stuff. So yeah, but in the end, they literally took her to like some other kind of, you know, there's some other kind of building, and like there was like a whole classroom full of other invisible kids, and they're all being taught how to infiltrate and assassinate. So, you know, just doing some kind of actual kind of, you know, like, you know, just kind of some kind of red room, but for invisible kids, or potentially even other kind of supernaturals or something. But you know, who knows? And yeah, I think I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was pretty much the ending they gave Marcy, but something does really kind of tell me that you know, we probably might not see her again. Like that might be the only ending we get for her. Like, oh, now she's actually within the U.S. government and actually being trained to, you know, use her abilities to cause some damage and do whatever the government wants her and the other kids to do. So yeah, talk about darkness. But we had that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that was pretty much it. And then Angel, he returned. And he kind of like he returned with like a kind of like a, not really like a warning, but he came back and he talked to Giles a bit about how he felt like the Master was planning something big and he just didn't know what it was and everything. And then they kind of, you know, swapped intel about codexes and, you know, different bits of Slayer lore. And he had the Pergamum Codex, which was a kind of a book about the end years of the Slayer, and probably little bits of like lore and prophecy about the Slayer and what she's meant to do and all that kind of stuff. So he knew where it was, and it had just been misplaced and not lost like Giles thought. So then he went away, got the book, came back, and then saved the team from the very intoxicating kind of boiler room. So he came in, he did bits, it was cool, it was fun, nothing major, but I mean, the fact that they actually brought that in to help Giles, I think that probably might play like a bigger part in the finale here and now, so yeah, that is definitely pretty much all that was there in the last one. So on to the finale, on to episode number 12. So yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 1, episode 12. Let's go.
A mate, and then we can.
God, don't say a mate. No.
Mating rituals.
No.
Tag them before they migrate. Just kill me.
You're doing fine.
Oh gosh.
I should just walk up to her and say, "Hey, I like you. Let's go to the dance together."
Direct and to the point.
Simple and sweet.
I'm ready.
Old Buffy's not here. You can practice on me some more.
Oh, Willow. No. Don't worry, Willow. One day you'll find someone great who treats you just the way they should.
The Master shall rise, and the Slayer
shall die. Shall die.
My God.
Shall die. Oh, jeez. Oh no. Oh, God. I mean, it's tea, so. Is the ground gonna split open? Is the Hellmouth gonna open up like a sinkhole or something? Oh god, not the library, not the library, please no, not the library. Oh god, oh. God, the master, yeah.
What do you think? 5.1?
5.1 earthquake, oh, great. I can't remember the term they actually used to measure earthquakes. It's like an actual unit of some kind.
Look, I broke a nail, okay? I'm wearing a press on.
Oh, your poor nails. It's a good thing you didn't die or anything. Yeah. What did he read in that codex? I mean, it had to be die, right? The Slayer shall die. I feel like that's the simplest
I had to meet my
and...
terrible fate.
What?
Oh god, don't say things like that, bro. Oh. Yeah, school. Yeah, I feel like he read die because that's the simplest and most lethal line they could do, but still.
Even I was bored, and I'm a science nerd.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
It's the computer age. Nerds are in.
Oh yeah, be a
They're
nerd.
still in, right?
Yeah, definitely. Even now, decades later, they're still in, definitely.
The thing.
Oh God.
Oh god. Oh god. The second-hand embarrassment is very strong right now. It's very strong.
Buffy, I like you. A lot. And I know we're friends and we've had experiences.
Xander, you're one of my best friends. You and Willow.
Well, Willow's not looking to date you. Or if she is, she's playing it pretty close to the chest.
That's a fair point. We really don't know what's going on inside Willow's heart or mind.
I just don't think of you that way.
Oh, wait.
Xander.
I'm not him. I mean, I guess the guy's gotta be undead.
Xander, don't make this about Angel.
That's really harsh.
Yeah, don't make this. No, don't do that. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I mean that didn't go terribly, but I mean I think we can only make it could have gone a lot better. Just just. Oh God, Xander, you mess of a human being.
No, I realise that.
Hey, Miss. I forgot her fucking. What's her name? What's her fucking name? Miss Calendar. Miss Calendar. I knew her name. Miss Calendar. Miss Calendar. Yeah.
Something's going on, Rupert, and I'm guessing you already know what it is. Mercy Hospital last night, a boy was born with his eyes facing inward.
Oh, how would that even work?
This is apocalypse.
How would that even...
We throw in last night's earthquake.
Like, are the optic nerves connected to the front or the back? Can you see them, or can you... I don't know. How'd that even work?
Willow, I really like your outfit.
No, you don't.
No, I really don't, but I need a favor. Well, the Browns won't let us use their
Fucking
sound
hell.
system, and
Be my date. We'll have a great time. We'll dance. We'll go wild. What do you say?
No.
Good. What?
You think I want to go to the dance with you and watch you wish you were at the dance with
Exactly,
her?
you're not going with her because you want to
Think
be with
that's
her.
my
It's
idea of
just because you
hijinks?
can't get Buffy.
You should know better.
You both deserve better than that.
But it's very plain. Tomorrow night, Buffy will face the Master, and she will die.
Oh boy. Oh, that's a hell of a cut. That's a hell of a cut.
One Slayer dies, next one's called. Do you think it'll hurt? Don't touch me!
Read me the signs! Tell me my fortune! You're so useful sitting here with all of your books! You're really a lot of help!
I know this is hard.
What do you know about this?
Oh god.
You're never gonna die.
Don't want anything to happen to you, huh? Do you think I could stand it?
Giles, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die.
Good god, fuck.
I saw you eyeing it at the store. I figured
Oh!
No, we can't afford this.
Oh shit,
the way you've been eating, we can afford it.
that's just depressing. Oh, it's so so good, so gorgeous.
I think you should wear it.
I can't go to the dance.
Says who? Is it written somewhere? You should do what you want. Homecoming, my freshman year of college.
I'm sorry, that is actually a really good line. That is actually a really, really good line.
He didn't have a date either.
He did. And that's a much funnier story that you will not have to hear. Oh, it was a beautiful night.
Men, I don't know why we put up with them.
I hear you.
Obviously, Kevin is under
Whoa!
the power of my icy stare.
Who killed Kevin? Who killed all of them? I mean, vampires, clearly. There's neck, bite marks in the neck. Did vampires literally just storm the school? This is what it's gonna be like. Is this prom basically gonna be is this gonna be Carrie or something? Just a bloodshed prom type deal.
I knew those guys. I go to that room every day. And when I walked in there, it wasn't our world anymore. They made it theirs. And they had fun.
This episode really want to make me cry, doesn't it? This episode really want to make me cry.
I like your dress. Take care.
Please let her kick some ass in that dress, you know. Tear it a bit on the sides if she needs to properly swing some kicks in, but let her kick some vampiric ass in that dress. Please.
I defy prophecy, and I am going. There's nothing you can say will change my mind.
I know.
Is she gonna cuff him to the table or something? Oh no, Mr. Right. Oh dearie me. Oh goodness, okay. Well, he'll forgive her in time. He'll forgive her in time.
You fight the master and you'll die.
Maybe I'll take him with me.
Ugh.
Help me?
Her anointed one, that's it, that's the anointed little shit.
I know you are.
Already breaking the prophecy. She already knows. Oh, I mean, she knows to an extent who he is. She doesn't know exactly who he is, but, you know.
How could you let her go?
As the soon-to-be purple area on my jaw will attest, I will not let her go.
Well, how can we help her? How come she's in the club?
Hey!
Hey, Miss Callender's
Once
been
the master gets free, the Hellmouth opens,
very
the
worthy
demons come
asset.
to party, and everybody dies.
All she's got is a I mean, is she hiding, like, stakes and stuff under that under the jacket? Does the jacket have any inner pockets? It's gotta have pockets. If there's one thing a jacket's gotta have, is pockets. Anything you wear has gotta have pockets.
Mind if I come in?
Oh, you're not the one who needs an invitation.
She's gone.
Oh, he brought a crucifix?
I don't like you.
Oh, gee.
At the end of the day, Buffy's got this big old yen for you. She thinks you're a real person.
You're in love with her.
Aren't you?
Master is as old as any vampire on record.
Well, if they can cooperate, then what the fuck? Well, why not? Welcome to the Hellmouth. That's it. He's just a tour guide. That's it. Is that really the only point of the Anointed One? Just like a little kid that just kind of leads her to the Hellmouth? I mean, on paper it sounds more badass, but with this, it's just like a little kid, just, you know.
You checked at my neck. I saw that. No, I wasn't. Just keep your distance, pal. I wasn't looking
Oh,
at
for
your
God's
neck.
sake, Xander, just.
I told you to eat before we left.
You're not going to kill me with that thing.
Do you think they'll gather at the Hellmouth?
Well, the last time the master tried to rise was the harvest. He sent a bunch of vampires to get him fresh
At the
blood.
bronze.
And where did that go down?
The bronze.
They're not going to the bronze.
They're coming to the school. The Hellmouth is directly under the school, so they're coming to the school. Oh, he's got the Force now? Really? This dude's got the Force now? Really?
You're the one that sets me free.
How does Buffy set him free? Oh, is he gonna feed on her and turn human?
Oh God, the power.
Is he gonna feed on her and turn human? Or is he gonna... Oh, no, it just gonna gives him more power. The blood of the Slayer. Oh, God. Wait, so her blood, like this, the blood of the Slayer gives him more power. Or gives him enough power to actually try and leave. Oh. Oh, God. Oh. The gate's broken. Master's free. I mean, he didn't feed on her completely, right? It was just like one, like, it was just like a nip. Just like a little nip. Wasn't complete, can't be complete death.
She's dead.
No.
Get in!
Oh, Cordelia! Are you kidding me? Cordelia comes in, she helps save the day in somehow. Oh, there we go. Medical attention saves the day.
Get to the library! Library, great.
Great. Okay, Cordelia coming in to save the day. I would not have fully anticipated that. I won't lie. I can't have anticipated that. She's gonna. Oh, she just drives straight through the school. Oh boy. Okay. Barricade it. Oh no! Oh, what are these? Tentacles?
No, I feel strong.
You do?
I feel different.
A good different?
Let's go.
Would that bite have turned her into a vampire? I mean, well, he really wasn't that impactful. I mean, it gave him power, but it's not like he actually transferred his to her. So would the bite from the master enhance the... Would it be a two-way street? Would it enhance them both? Oh, yeah! Oh, I love when they bring the actual theme into actual scenes, yeah. Oh, I love when they do this. They did it in Teen Wolf in season 2. I love it when they do this kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, Buffy's got no more power now. She's got more power. Oh, cut off there.
Angel, better put on your game face.
Oh, it's ready. He's ready.
One way
He's
or
ready.
another.
One's got a crucifix, one's got fangs. Yeah, great. Oh, Cordelia bites back. Oh, what happens to you if you're bitten by Cordelia? Do you just turn into a fashion icon or something? A fashion symbol? Wait, it's actually a mouth? Is it actually like an actual physical mouth of some kind? Oh. Oh no, the hell mouth is an actual mouth. It's an actual physical mouth. Surprise!
You're dead.
I may be dead, but I'm still pretty. Which is more than I can say for you.
Oh
You were
yeah.
destined to die. It was written.
I flunked the written.
She's writing her own book now. She's writing her own codex.
Come here.
Oh, Giles getting into action. Giles getting in some action. Oh, oh. Oh, no, that was a fool. Oh. Okay. Don't let any of the humans get impaled by that thing. Yeah, throw some vampires onto it.
You're that amped about hell?
You can go there.
Go there.
Go back there. Go back there. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Damn, the death of the freaking master. The death of the master and the tentacles and the freaking mutated Cerberus go back.
Vampires? Master? Dead. Her mouth is closed.
Love that. Love that little remix.
We save the world. I say we party.
Exactly, an after party, an apocalyptic after party. That's what we need.
I mean...
By the way, I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit with everyone.
Yeah. It is a great dress. She really does pull off the nice promy white. And that's the end of the very first season. I need a good stretch after that. Need myself a good stretch. Grr, arr. I'd say that was an interesting finale. I don't know if it's because this wasn't necessarily strictly a two-parter, because I feel like I'm kind of more in tune with finales that are two-parters. Like finales that actually work as two-parters, and with this one, it didn't really kind of it didn't really work there. But I think the the actual story itself was condensed to this one episode. So I feel like had they made it a two-parter and had Buffy dying in the first one with no kind of clear signs as if they were going to bring it back. I mean, that's actually another thing too, because then I don't know if if they actually said if either they said from the beginning, oh, this is going to be a multiple season kind of series, there's going to be more than one season and we're going to continue the story, or if they actually announced a season 2, or maybe if they did because it was a live show, a live network show back then, maybe if they actually said halfway through airing season 1, oh, the network actually renewed the show for a season 2, maybe if it worked that way. But then I don't know if the show was airing with signs or not as to whether or not the story would continue. So then because of that, I think I don't know if Buffy dying here would have been kind of nullified by that, or if people would have actually been led into thinking, oh, the hero's actually going to die, that's going to be a story. Because then, I mean, again, for its time alone, I feel like the story and this show would have actually been revolutionary for the time alone. So I think actually reducing it down to one season would have been a pretty much considered a crime against the genre and against the medium and everything. So I don't know if they would have crafted the death around that, or if they would have actually just kind of had the death in just to show that she can die, but then she'll still be brought back or something. So I don't know how that would have happened, but I think either way, I feel like if they had actually done the death as the ending to the same way that the actual opening was like a two-parter, like with the harvest of like Buffy then being in danger of being cornered by Luke, but then it opened up and closed with the harvest also being in episode 2. So I feel like, you know, if they had actually done the same thing for this, then it would have been that much more of like an actual hard-hitting finale. But then instead, I think they kind of condensed everything down into one episode, and it kind of felt a bit harder to keep up. But then, you know, for me personally, I think I still managed to feel hard hit and impacted by the bigger moments and everything. But I feel like, you know, I think it definitely felt like it would have actually worked better as an actual two-parter to really kind of drive home the fact that this was actually meant to be like an actual big deal before they move on to the next story. So there was that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think this finale really went down pretty well, considering it really went down well. I think the kind of stuff with the prophecy and the master. I feel like the master's kind of escape was pretty short-lived too. I think that is actually one of the reasons why I feel like it actually should have been a two-parter, because I think the master's escape felt short-lived. Like he really didn't really get to do much before Buffy triumphantly kind of defeated him and everything, and it just kind of felt like he came up, he, you know, managed to feel the night breeze for like a few minutes, and then immediately got kind of yeeted off the roof and onto the kind of wooden, kind of very, very lethal wooden kind of protrusion in the library. If they had actually made a two-parter, then we could have actually seen a bit more of the master actually kind of like somewhat wreaking havoc. And I mean, I say that, but I think even beforehand, I think they did have some kind of more minor, like relatively minor kind of stuff happening in the episode beforehand that equally and like very effectively kind of lent into the actual trauma and the actual kind of, you know, the kind of seriousness of the story of the episode itself. So I think that definitely kind of worked in its favor. But I think at the same time, I feel like, you know, given how much they've been leading up to this, and also they've been leading up to it, but then in the midst of it, they've been throwing other stories and other kind of monsters and other kind of little topics into the mix too. So I think because of that, it kind of felt like, you know, like having it be a two-parter would have been the perfect way to actually kind of lend in some more effort and some more time to this kind of story overall. And I think losing the master that quickly just kind of felt like, you know, kind of like that definitely felt short-lived. That definitely felt short-lived, and it definitely feels like they got rid of him just for the sake of getting rid of him, as opposed to actually like him being her first enemy, him being the biggest, like him being powerful enough to stop her in the Hellmouth and everything, like in the cave. But then when they come out, it's like it's a relatively more kind of longer lived fight, but then it's still kind of like, you know, it's still kind of like it still felt like it actually breezed by and everything. So I feel like they really didn't kind of leave too much to be able to justify the Master's reign and the Master's actual kind of lethality in those scenes in themselves. So I feel like that was like a bit of like a not necessarily a non-issue, but then still like a not like the biggest kind of issue or like the biggest kind of gripe to have. But I think in terms of storytelling and screen time, I feel like they definitely could have actually made the whole kind of standoff between the Master and Buffy to be like a bit longer than it was. So yeah. But I mean, it was nice enough to see that like everyone actually had everyone actually had something to do. Everyone had a piece to do in that kind of final battle. Like Buffy, being Buffy, she was facing the Master. I think, you know, Angel and Xander were still doing their thing. I think Angel was staking vampires, and Xander was, you know, had his trusty crucifix with him. Even I think no, God, I can't get over the fact that Cordelia actually bit them back. Cordelia biting them back is easily one of the best things she's done this entire season, like one of the best things she's done. I think easily, like for me personally, going down as one of the better kind of Cordelia moments as a whole. Like she comes up against vampires, and not even she turns into a damsel in distress. She's just like, oh, you want to bite me? Well, I'll bite you right back with the cherry on top, and you'll, you know, be worse off for it. Cordelia, a bite from a Cordelia. I think, you know, vampire bites turn you into a vampire. I mean, as long as they actually transfer blood, they turn you into a vampire. Cordelia bites, I think, you know, they just leave you salty. They just leave you feeling salty. Like, wow, I can't believe my own victims bit back against me. So yeah, that's it. Iconic Cordelia moments. Cordelia biting back against the vampire. Just, you know. If that doesn't make you love her, then I'm not really sure what will. Because again, I think easily in any situation, I think you'd pretty much be ready to have various characters turning into different kinds of roles, like some being attackers, some being Fleas and everything, but with Cordelia, she's not only still holding the door in place even after Jenny and Willow get pulled away by the actual tentacle things, but then she's still holding the door with like one hand, and then one of them kind of grabs her. I thought she'd be bitten. I like, part of me was fully anticipating, oh, maybe she gets bitten, and maybe season 2 we have to deal with like a vampire Cordelia. Maybe they turn her into a vampire, or maybe they actually kind of like go down like a similar-ish kind of route. But no, they just kind of grabbed onto her hand, and then she actually bit back, and then yeah, that was it. That was her weapon. Her teeth, her own fangs, her own human fangs were her weapons of choice. So yeah, that was great. But I think everyone had like a little something. Everyone had like a little something to do in the in the efforts to kind of stave off the oncoming wave of vampires and everything. So that was cool. So I mean, one thing that did get me was like the master biting Buffy. So, I mean, that, like, I pretty much understood how that worked. Like he bit her, but then I think even what he took was mostly like a nip. But then him being the master, him being the most powerful vampire that there is, or rather was, him being all that, I think his, like, a bite from him would be the most draining and most powerful. So I think maybe for him, like, even like a nip from him would be enough to kind of leave you drained and drowsy, and in Buffy's case, enough to actually leave you having, drowned out in like a pool of water and everything. But then so what he took from it, because then I expected it. I think once he did bite her, like, I think there wasn't really much of a sound besides from Buffy gasping. So I think that was the indication that, oh, he has actually bitten her now. He's actually drinking her blood now. But then even then, like, not to say I wanted it to be more gory, but then it being the master, I kind of anticipated, like, he's been waiting so long, he's dying for power. I thought he'd kind of it would be like a more gory vampire bite that you usually see, and like, because again, like, they've shown dead bodies or like bitten up and chewed up before, and it's been no issue. But then with the master thing, it was just like a teeny tiny nip and like a bit of red on her neck and everything. So I thought there would be more to it, but then it's like I guess with it being the master, he really doesn't need to take a lot. But then I don't know, but he didn't, and then Buffy still passed out, and she still ended up kind of drowning out in the thing. So then, did she actually officially die then, or was she like, I think? Because I mean, if you drown, then I guess there's still more time left before you die. Because then, like, if you assuming that the CPR not only takes place, but then actually gets done properly, then there's still a chance to save you. So then it's like it's sort of actually like if you're left to die, or if you actually do still get revived in time. So I think I think maybe then it's like she's like actually she's passed out from that state that she's in from the bite and also from drowning in the pool. So then she's still kind of waiting to have her lungs cleared out and all that kind of stuff. So I guess she died. Like she didn't die, but then but then factoring in the vampire account too, factoring in the vampire bite too, which is meant to be lethal, I guess then she kind of died in like a bit of an extra way too. And I think she's also the Slayer too, so I think logically only really like a vampire bite would be like the kind of surest way to try and get to her. So I guess. But yeah, then the episode also dealt with a lot of heavier themes. I think this episode was honestly actually heavier than I expected. It was definitely heavier and a lot more hard hitting than I was ready for at times. I think especially like stuff with like Willow and Buffy, and I think a bit with Xander too. A bit with the opening with at the beginning with Xander. It was kind of like it was a lot more human and a lot more kind of grounded and everything. But with so especially with Buffy and with like Buffy as well, like Buffy. Her reaction to that prophecy was heartbreaking, and I gotta say, I think Sarah Michelle Gellar too. I think with this one season, I think she's definitely kind of, I think she's definitely kind of like stood her ground and actually cemented herself as as one of the reasons why this show works so well, and exactly like how and why this kind of show goes on to inspire so many other characters and so many other kind of personalities like throughout this kind of medium and throughout this genre and everything. So hats off to Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's powerful. She's powerful. She's exactly the right kind of person for this role, and she's just like she definitely kind of like she definitely has put in the work to make to be a part of what makes this series so special and everything. So nothing but high hopes and high praises for her. So yeah, I mean, if watching her as I mean, for me, I kind of watched her journey in reverse. I know, like people went from watching her in Buffy to then watching her years later in the Scooby-Doo movies. But for me, like my journey worked in reverse. Actually, seeing her be so badass in as Daphne in Scooby-Doo, and then coming back and watching her origins as a badass icon in Buffy as well. So either way, just like she can do no wrong. She doesn't know how to actually play other kind like characters that don't have like a strength to them in one way or another. So she's great. But her reaction to actually hearing about the prophecy. I think because she comes to the library and then she actually sees Angel and she's so happy and so surprised to see him again. So she can't wait to see what's happening between him and Giles. But then she kind of gets closer to the office and she hears the truth about what they're talking about. And then Giles lets slip that the prophecy does in fact say that the Master will rise and the Slayer will die. So yeah, I guess like even the initial execution of Giles discovering that in his own scene kind of worked too. I think the way they did that, I kind of like, me being me and actually seeing newer shows and seeing how writing kind of dramatizes itself a bit more for newer shows. I think I was kind of expecting it to be worded a bit differently or be worded more cryptically, but with a bit more lethality to it. But then I think the simplicity of the simplicity of that kind of line too, like the Master will rise and the Slayer will die, is still kind of like I guess it still does work. And I think the message is there. It's short and simple. If the Slayer goes up against the Master, Slayer's gonna die. So that like I don't know how you can get more simpler or more straightforward or more to the point than that. So yeah. And I think it kind of hits even harder for her, like knowing that that this is meant to be prophecy. I think in all sorts of stories and in all sorts of lore, like prophecy is meant to, like even the word prophecy sounds cool. I mean, for me, even the word prophecy sounds cool. But then prophecy is meant to be like like something is written. It's written in stone. It has to happen. And it's like in some cases it's like even the things leading up to it are prophecy. But then in other times it's like you can change things up however you want, but in the end, the destination would always be the same. So you can either try and change. I think that's exactly what in the Flash too. In the Flash, I think season 3, like with Savitar killing Iris, I think that was meant to be like a more visual prophecy, like this is gonna happen and you can't change it. So then they actually tried to change different events and headlines and stuff leading up to it. But then in the end, it visually still happened, but then actually practically, like the whole HR doing his own sacrifice thing happened. So it only happened it happened in the same way, but just in like a very different kind of way. So there's that. But I think prophecies. I think easily. I think those are those are storylines I actually kind of really enjoy watching. Do like prophecies and like how they're enacted and how they affect the characters and how they're written and the way that they're executing and everything. So prophecies are really fun. So I think with this one, but I think with this one too, like Buffy's kind of like prophecy being like Buffy actually having to come to terms with this prophecy was like a really interesting thing to see. And I think it hits exactly the way it's meant to for me. But I think also partially because of the fact that we really haven't seen much of the Master this season either. I feel like that's also like another reason I think like that this actually would have been better as a season finale, as a two-parter, because we've had so many other different types of enemies and creatures and monsters like this season. Like the Master feels like he's kind of been sidelined here and there. Honestly feels like they've had the Master stuff running in the background. But then I think not for the sake of nothing, but in order to actually kind of introduce new creatures and in order to kind of put the characters through their paces in different ways, in very, very individual kind of ways. They've kind of introduced new things and new stories and tried to expand the world a bit more and actually try and put new things in, which for me, I've still enjoyed. I haven't found that it's actually kind of harmed or altered my experience of the show in any negative ways. I think it's still been fun. It's still been fun seeing what they can come up with and seeing what they can introduce and how differently those monsters can kind of work, and I think for the most part it's been creative too. I think we're not going to talk about Teacher's Pet. We are not going to we're not going to talk about Teacher's Pet. We do not talk about Teacher's Pet in this household. So just making that clear from here on out. So yeah, but I think because of that stuff, because they've taken the time to introduce other stuff too. I think sometimes they've had the Master being referenced, and other times we as the audience have just had to kind of rely on the fact that the Master is there doing his thing, and then the whole Anointed One thing. The Anointed One, I felt like the Anointed One was so kind of underwhelming. I think given how much, like, because I'm pretty sure at some point, like they even referenced or like very kind of offhandedly mentioned some kind of training coming in at the hands of the Master, but then in the end, it was literally just a kid probably wearing the exact same kind of clothes he died in, and then, or at least he kind of lost in that bus massacre, just kind of taking Buffy by the hand. And I mean, again, the prophecy did say the Anointed One will lead her to the gates of hell, but then I think there was so much more to it than that too. Like, I think the Slayer will not know who he is, and I think, I mean, I can't fully tell if the wording on that was really loose. So I think maybe it's like, oh, maybe like, because then they said she will not know who she is. I think I can't tell if the wording and the phrasing was meant to be a bit looser. So then either she will not know he's the Anointed One and she'll just think he's an innocent kid who needs help, and then she'll be tricked and it'll be like a greater betrayal, or she won't know exactly who he is, and she won't remember him from the actual bus incident, and she won't know who he is in that sense, but then she'll still know he's the Anointed One, and then that kind of stuff will kind of happen. So I mean, not sure if either one of those kind of definitions was the one to go with, or what happened, but the Anointed One just kind of felt so kind of underwhelming. I think literally just a kid showing up out of nowhere, and then because the kid didn't even really get any other kind of lines earlier on. He didn't really even get much to do. He just kind of sat down there, being forced to watch the Master practicing earthquakes, and just kind of supposedly standing side by side with the Master and learning tricks of the vampire trade, but in the end, he didn't really do much besides from lead her to the gates of hell. And I think, I feel like that's the bare minimum of actually meeting his job description. He did what he was meant to do, but I feel like maybe, was there really more that he could do? I think, I kind of question that, but then I think off the top of my head, I can't really kind of come up with much else. I think maybe tricking her friends along the way, maybe actually kind of showing up in school and tricking the friends and actually getting them into trouble too, maybe actually, because I don't really know if the Anointed One was also meant to be inherently evil, or if he was, because the Anointed One never hurt her. He literally, like, the kid literally took her to the gates of hell as he was supposed to, and then just kind of disappeared. So I mean, the kid's got no mother. I'm pretty sure that the mother died in that busing, so the kid's got no parents. He probably don't know if he has any other family. If he does, that kid is reported missing. That kid is definitely reported missing or dead. So then now if he just shows up randomly in town and someone looks up who he is, it's gonna be like, didn't you die on that bus where monsters attacked the passengers and everything? So I don't know what's gonna happen there, but the Anointed One was easily like one of the more kind of moments for me. So there was that. But yeah, this was the one prophecy that Buffy couldn't really handle, and I think again it's understandable, because then she literally kind of finds out the prophecy states that she must die, or at least that she will die. So then, like, it being a prophecy, that kind of then gets translated based on interpretation into must, or at least it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. So she hears that, and then Buffy's reaction to that is just heart wrenching to have to watch, and it's just like her just kind of like even her just kind of like her like not lashing out of hatred, but actually lashing out at Angel and Giles in anger too, like her even lashing out at Giles, being like, oh, you sit down here with your books and you do all this studying, but then I'm the one out there like risking my life and putting my life on the line every day, with, you know, always with the potential of imminent death, and now imminent death is actually written in ink on paper now as well, so there's that. And then even Angel too, like being like, oh, you can't even die, so you know, you are, unless someone comes at you with a stake, which you're probably used to by now. You know, you don't really have much to worry about, so she's just kind of lashing out in anger and in pain and everything. And then even the line that got me, the line that got me was, you know, I don't want to die, I'm only 16 years old. Like, no matter how much action you see from her, no matter how good she looks, no matter how skilled or talented she looks, like, no matter what kind of physical feats she accomplishes, no matter what she accomplishes as a Slayer, I think there will always be that kind of that lingering thought and that lingering anxiety that, you know, she is easily like the youngest. Like, I think she's quite. But I mean, we haven't really kind of heard many other references to other Slayers or how old they were. But then she's potentially the youngest Slayer that there's ever been, and she's only 16. She's literally like a teenager in high school. You know, but potentially, I don't know, maybe somewhat close to graduating and going to college or something. But then even then, it's like, you know, she's still. I mean, well, yeah, she's 16. So I think that would probably be like close to like a senior age, or like actually close to, like, I mean, it's like just beyond mid-teens. It's approaching the late teens, definitely approaching the late teens, and then probably close to graduation or something. So, God only knows if this entire series is actually centered around the kids still going to Sunnydale and not like graduating until the very end or something. But yeah, no, but yeah, that line hits as hard as anything else. It definitely hits hard. And it's like I think especially after like seeing everything else she's been through. I think seeing everything else she's been through too. I think it's kind of like easier to like, I think to look at previous episodes and actually kind of see all the kind of goofiness that's happened and all the kind of like all the like the way that the action has been portrayed is that she knows what she's doing, she has help, she has weapons, she has skills, she has tricks of the trade, she is the Slayer, she's the chosen one and everything. So I think because of that you can again like there's the constant expectation and the constant kind of constant kind of reassurance that you give yourself that oh yeah she's gonna live, she's the Slayer, and plus like you kind of you still think of it as a show, but then in terms of the story you kind of think of it as oh she's gonna live, she can do all this that and the other, she's got a team now, she's got a watcher, she can easily live and fight another day and everything. So there's that. But then with this I think it's not just actually having to kind of think about it from the audience's point of view, but actually seeing it from a character's point of view too. Like for her, as far as she knows, this is the prophecy, this is what's been written, this is what must happen, and she is finally sinking in just how kind of detrimental this job can be, is finally sinking in like exactly how heavy the situation is and how serious it is and everything. So with her, it's like that kind of fully comes in, like she has barely, she hasn't lived the life, she has not lived the life, and I think she hasn't lived the life in two different ways. On the one hand, she's only 16, so she literally has years and years ahead of her that she can live in whatever way she desires and deserves to live whatever way she desires. But then on the other hand too, so much of her life until now has also been taken up by being a Slayer. She very rarely gets the opportunity to actually be Buffy, to be Buffy Summers, to actually be a human, to be a girl, to actually be someone who spends time with friends and family in like a human way, in a normal way, to actually do things she wants to do and everything. I think we had like a couple of storylines here and there earlier in the season actually exploring that, like actually exploring who she wants to be outside of being a Slayer, and both of those stories kind of ended with her finally realizing that the kind of the responsibility and the duty of slaying in her life was too heavy and too important of a role to really overlook or even sideline like that. And like if she does try and sideline it, it will always find a way to bleed back into her life. So then actually telling someone like that with that much responsibility on their shoulders that they're now destined to die, at the hands of their own, supernatural job, it's really not like it's really not like an easy thing to have to actually kind of handle. And I think that scene was portrayed perfectly. Again, Sarah Michelle Gellar actually took that kind of dialogue and that kind of realization and actually kind of portrayed it really perfectly too. So it's just like actually seeing that kind of come into fruition and come to light as well, just like was like a really, it made my heart beat. It really actually made my heart beat and stuff. And I think again, like even thinking of it as a TV show too. Like I think I'm definitely going to go into season 2 after this, and I think I know that there's other scenes ahead of this where she chances are she's going to face even harder and even darker threats going forward, and it's going to really test her as a character and as a hero and everything. But then actually still seeing them establish something like that this early in the show, this early in the story, and actually already having her kind of saying this kind of stuff when she's this young too. I think it makes sense, and it also kind of hits that much harder too. I think she's only like up to here, and she's already pretty much had it with this kind of life. And even her saying like I know how to actually resolve this issue and not let the prophecy come to light. I quit. I'm just gonna stop being a Slayer. Like if there's no Slayer to face the Master, then no Slayer can die, right? And I think that, but then also the other thing where it's like being the Slayer means being the chosen one, and a new chosen one is actually a new chosen one is chosen. So then for her that just means that if she dies, then another one's gonna come out, and then she can be trained and she can do the same thing. But then that just means that makes her feel like she's just expendable. Like the way that being the chosen one works is that you're the one for now, but then if you die, then there needs to be another one. So then another one will be born, or another one will be picked, or something. Like that stuff hasn't really been fully kind of extensively explored yet. But then the implication is that because there must be a chosen one, and because there always is a chosen one, someone else will just come and pick up and take up the role. But then she's gone. She's dead at 16 after having been a part of this life. She's lost her friends, she lost her family, they lost her. She's gone. She lost her life to this kind of holier than thou, and like this kind of holy kind of moral kind of mortal kind of, duty and everything. So, actually taking that into account too, like she never asked for this, but then it was literally thrust upon her, and then she had no choice but to go along. And I think when she succeeds, she can revel in it, she can celebrate in it, but then in the grand scheme of things, like this is still a job that scares her. This is still a job that kind of gives her these kinds of feelings and these kinds of like worries and everything. So actually seeing that being portrayed in that one scene alone actually felt really impactful and really well placed and well written. So. And it's supremely well acted and everything. So just that whole kind of thing. And I think that's why I love Joyce even more. I don't know how you can actually watch this show and not love Joyce Summers. She is just, again, in a lot of different stories like this with hero figures and hero kind of fighters and leads like this work because the mothers behind them are fucking icons. So, Joyce is just an example of one of many. Arguably, hey, if Buffy helped start this off, then Joyce also helped start off, or at least helped kind of pioneer that trend, of mothers also being equally important heroes and characters in their lives and everything. So, Joyce, I think Joyce from day one has pretty much indulged in Buffy, whilst also struggling with her own kind of work-life kind of balance too. She's also tried to indulge and encourage Buffy living her own life, having her own kind of set of interests and her own kind of actually taking care of herself mentally and physically, and actually trying to be herself and everything. And even in this episode too, like her actually encouraging her to try and go to prom, even if no one asks her, she's just like, you know what, you should just go anyway. Just like you got this great dress, and even a dress that was likely very expensive that Buffy was eyeing in the shops for a long time, that Joyce caught on to and then actually bought ahead of time for her as like an actual prom gift and everything. And even I think even that one line of with how little you're eating, we can definitely afford to actually buy this dress too. So I don't know if that means that Buffy actually eats less nowadays, or if she just kind of don't even know if that's actually like a sincere line, or even like a throwaway kind of line either. Because then if she isn't eating, then obviously that's a problem. But then I don't know. But either way, she definitely actually went ahead and bought the dress as a gift for her, and actually told her, even if no one else, even if you don't have a date, just go ahead, just dance on your own, or even actually, go see with them. She knew that someone did ask her, but then I think she said, but like not the right person asked you, so. She kind of caught on to different things here and there, but I think she probably believed that, even by the time she got there, then things could have changed or things could have been better and she could have still tried something. But I think overall, she just wanted her to go out and be happy. That's all Joyce has ever wanted for her. So, and even that one line from her too, of Buffy being like, I can't go to the prom, I just can't do it, and then her being like, why? Is it written somewhere that you can't do it? And then afterwards she's like, what? Then write your own book, or write your own words, or write your own story, or whatever. Like I heard, obviously, like a more indirect kind of at least the way I took it, like a more indirect kind of reference to the actual prophecy itself, being like, what, you can rewrite it, and you can also go ahead and actually just erase it completely, actually erase the prophecy completely and fight back against it, and actually work hard to actually not let it come to light. But then also actually, if it does happen, then rewrite it. So then Buffy did die at the hands of the Master, but then she came back. Then Xander saved her life, and she actually came back, and then she came back with a vengeance. She came back ready to play hard and work even harder, and work hard and play even harder. So. She worked hard, she defeated the Master in the very end, and then she played even harder. She went to the dance with everyone else, and things went right. So, the point is, Joyce is an icon. Joyce is the one with the keys and the actual memorable pieces of advice here. She rewrote the prophecy, so then the Slayer will die, and then she'll come back an even badder bitch. So. But Joyce is great. Joyce this season has been such a lovely kind of character to watch, and to see how important she is to Buffy's life, and to actually helping Buffy kind of keep her grounded, be the kind of rock in her, keeping her grounded, and being like the mother in her corner, and actually being her mother, and actually being there for her, and actually taking care of her no matter what happens. Has been a really enlightening thing to see, and actually seeing that in like an actual story like this with the hero too, because I think so many hero stories, like superhero or not. I think because what's in my mind is mostly superhero stuff. Because nowadays that stuff's everywhere. Like those kind of stories are everywhere. But then superhero story or not, just like a hero story in general. I think what you often don't really kind of get, or what you often don't get is like an actual parental figure being in the background actually doing things. I mean, even if you do, they're in it for a short while and then they're not in it forever, because then obviously losing the parents is also kind of pivotal to turning the tides in like a hero story and making them fight even harder. But hopefully that doesn't happen with Buffy. Please, you do not need to kill Joyce off or get rid of her anyway to make Buffy stronger. Joyce being here clearly makes Buffy stronger. Joyce being here, Joyce doing what she does and being in Buffy's corner is clearly what makes Buffy stronger. So, learn from that. Keep that intact and everything will be fine. So, yeah, but no, Joyce, having her in this and having her be this kind of like really lovely and warm kind of element of the story and element of Buffy's story too, is a really refreshing thing to see. So Joyce is great. Joyce Summers, just amazing. We love and we cherish. So yeah. And speaking of trauma, speaking of being traumatized, Willow Rosenberg, my love, my sweet, just God, the way she was after what happened. Oh God, that was hard to watch. That was very hard to watch. Seeing Willow after, I think especially. It's like even her admitting that after everything they've been through, this still hit her like a ton of fucking bricks. This still hit her like a ton of bricks. It still hit her harder than she thought it would. And it's when even for her, the prophecy was the realization for Buffy of the truth and the severity of the situation, and then now this that scene of her walking into that room with all those people was actually that was the realization for her and everything. And I think her just her hers. I think hers with hers one like her being so much more not more human, but I think her being more kind of human oriented. I guess I don't know. I mean, well, her just being less of a slayer than Buffy, and her being more a lot more grounded and a lot more human in that sense than Buffy. I think with her it would make so much more sense that she'd actually be kind of taken out by that for a while, and she'd really be taken aback by that and everything. So that kind of thing definitely makes sense, and even seeing her just curled up on the bed afterwards, just kind of struggling to come up with the words, and even her actually saying to Buffy, "I wish I could explain to you in a way you'd understand," but just she's still struggling to actually process exactly what she's seen and having to actually process that and actually having to contemplate the fact that they're dead, and even her saying she knew them. I think whether or not they were friends is debatable, but then even then she knew them. They were innocent kids. They were good kids who just went to school and did all that did what they enjoyed and did all that kind of stuff. They definitely didn't deserve to die, and I think she knew them too. She would. I think she said she'd actually visit that kind of break room type place frequently, and she knew those guys. They hung out there just as much as her. And now the next morning they go in, they're all dead. They've all been butchered by vampires. There's blood everywhere. Their bodies are strewn about all over the place, and there's blood on the actual TVs or the handprints. And it's even the way it looked too. I think it easily they would very easily have been overpowered by vampires, and even the way she described them too is it wasn't even it wasn't even a serious hunt for them. It wasn't really even a struggle for them. Like for the vampires, it was fun. It was like a game. They actually enjoyed kind of maybe hunting them down and actually kind of killing them and just leaving them there to be found and leaving the scene like that too. So I think just her seeing that too. I think it's especially those final few shots too of actually her seeing the cartoon and stuff still playing, the TV still on the cartoon, whatever they're watching is still playing, and then there's a bloody handprint doing that. That's that kind of shot too. That kind of combination of two worlds, the cartoon showing off the more human side of the thing, and then the handprint showing off what really happened and what really went down. And everything that was just wow, yeah. And yeah, the same way that that Buffy had that kind of heartbreaking line of realization and self kind of realization, I guess. Will had one too. I think it was her actually describing the scene and her being she walked in and she saw this this whole massacre, this whole bloodshed that had taken place, and it was that's when she realized it wasn't their world anymore. It was the vampires' world, and I think for her as well, it coming from her too. I think that's the real point of realization where she realizes that the world she knew, the world of school and homework and of Xander and Cordelia, and just kind of popularity and boys and girls and all these different things, like all these normal human issues that you take for granted. Like I think that kind of that all that stuff was still there, but it was now being overshadowed and plagued by all these vampires and monsters and the Hellmouth and all these other mystical threats that very few regular humans are able to actually combat in an effective way. And I think for her, it's like it's their world now. Like they're coming in, they're taking over, they're doing all the stuff. They're showing off their power. They're showing off their kind of supremacy, their kind of ability to take control and do whatever they want and leave blood and dust in their wake and everything. Like for her, that realization is what kind of truly sets the fear into the fact that the fact that also I think for her, maybe even her thinking of I think her with her kind of noticeable kind of traits of anxiety and stuff, her even thinking that if it was just her, if there was no Giles, if there was no Xander, if there was no Buffy, and it was just her, then she knows that she alone, she really wouldn't last much of a chance against threats like these. And then for her, it could have been her. I think maybe part of her feels like even after everything could have gone down, it still could have been her. Like at any point, the vampires could have come back, or they could try again in the future, and it could still be her in the wrong place at the wrong time with no Buffy or Xander to really protect her, because she hasn't really trained herself, she hasn't really kind of learned anything herself, and she hasn't learned how to fight, so could easily be her. But then I think for her that is how she sees the death of her friends too. Like it's not just the vampires killing them for fun, but it's also her friends just unfortunately being in the wrong place at the wrong time, catching the wrong end of the stick, and really undeservedly paying the price for it. So for her, I think seeing Willow in that state too, seeing Willow so traumatized, and actually seeing Willow kind of now fully just about coming to terms with just how detrimental the situation is, and just how deadly this kind of threat is, but then also actually wishing that this kind of stuff just wasn't happening, and throughout the course of this entire season, they have watched countless innocent kids die. They've watched countless innocent kids die at the hands of all these things, and they've had to fight to protect them, and fight to say goodbye to them, and fight to mourn them. I mean, we haven't even fully had any segment of the show where they actually mourn the kids afterwards. I think it's usually in fairly minute ways at the end of the episode, where they actually talk about the kids who died and actually talk about who they were and what they did, and just how how much they deserve to live and everything. But then after that, it's something else much, which I think it's just the element of actually moving on and trying to save the next kid from the next kind of supernatural arsehole that comes along to try and screw things up. So yeah, but I think they definitely gave the right they definitely gave the right kinds of kind of situations and the right kind of dialogue to the right characters too, with Buffy, her having to worry about herself dying, but then also her only being 16, her actually having barely lived a life, but now her life might be taken away by the one thing it's been plagued by for so long. So her having that, and then Willow having the thing where she has to continuously watch people that she knows, even if they're not friends, the people that she knows, people she's familiar with, people that she knows are decent kind of good people who are just trying to live their lives and trying to get by, and people who are kids in school that trying to graduate and eventually and do all this kind of stuff, her understanding that these are nice normal people who are then being killed because of some mystical, arsehole down below. So that kind of stuff really kind of brings things to light, and actually, again, was really appropriately and aptly kind of given to these characters. So that much is commendable. That much is hugely commendable. And even Alison Hannigan too. Even Alison Hannigan, her playing Willow is just on point. Her playing Willow is she's really kind of cemented herself into that role too. She really plays that kind of goofy, lovable, adorable best friend role so well, and even her very relatable fears being put on display is a really nice thing to see too. Anyone in her situation would be afraid of the exact same thing, and they'd be affected in pretty much in near enough the same ways too. But then I think with her being her, I think her being given that kind of a bit more of that kind of human vulnerability, and actually being given a bit more of that kind of actual that kind of shock and trauma that renders you kind of unable to really kind of move forward for a little bit. It is really kind of really relatable too. So Buffy and Willow really went through it this episode. So yeah, and there was Xander. So I mean, I'm not entirely sure if we can call Xander. I mean, I don't think we can really call Xander's thing trauma. I'm not really sure that. not to discredit what he's feeling. His feelings are perfectly valid. You know, like, rejection can hurt anyone. Rejection can very easily hurt anyone. It's not the easiest thing in the world to accept. I think they even addressed that in this. I think he actually kind of admitted that himself. Like, you know, he doesn't really take rejection easy. But I think in the moment, I think the way that was delivered, and intentionally so, I think that was just kind of him saying, like, you know, I don't really feel too good, and I really don't want to have this conversation anymore, so I'm just gonna say bye and leave it at that. But then him saying it, you know, I think as truthful as it was, I think the way it was delivered was just kind of like, oh, don't worry, it's a me problem, not a you problem, and stuff. So yeah, I think, yeah, again, rejection doesn't really, you know, feel good for anyone. You know, like, no matter what it's for, if it's for a date, if it's for a job, if it's for whatever, you know, being rejected for something you actually do really want doesn't feel good. But then I think I was hoping, I was sincerely hoping, right, especially more so because of around the time that this was set to, I wasn't really sure how they kind of deal with that kind of a topic either. Like if they'd actually have it so that, you know, he actually did take it graciously and actually be like, you know what, okay, no worries, we were still great friends. I think she even said, you know, like, Xander and Willow, like, you're two of my best friends. I don't know what I'd do without you. But then that's really it. Like, she only really sees them as friends, and, you know, any normal person would still cherish that alone. Like, friendship alone is a really, really solid and really, really great thing to have. So I think, you know, I was hoping, I was hoping, I think maybe a bit naively, again, because of the time this is set in, maybe with a bit of naivete, I was kind of hoping that they'd go down the route of Xander, like, clearly showing him being hurt, but then him also being mature enough and like kind of civil enough to kind of still take it graciously and to not kind of shift any blame onto Buffy. Like, him pulling out the Angel card was so uncalled for. Like, he's been pulling up Angel at any point he can against Buffy for so long. He's like, you know, oh, like, you don't like me, but you're in love with Angel because he's this, that, and the other. But then it's like, you know, sure, that there clearly is something between Angel and Buffy, and that's Buffy's choice. Buffy is attracted to him for, you know, for the reasons that she's attracted to him, and she's into him, and he reciprocates that with some sense of reluctancy because of what he is. So there's a bit of there's a bit of tension there and everything, but that's her choice. I think for one thing, she, you know, can't truly help who she's into or who she's attracted to in that way. But then on the other hand, she can definitely still choose who she actually wants to be with and who she wants to spend her time with. And realistically, anyone can, and anyone can really be like down that route. Like, you can't choose who you're into, but then you can still choose who you pursue and everything. And as long as it's reciprocated and like-minded, then, you know, by all means, go after it. But then with this one, you know, I think, you know, just him just pulling out the Angel card like that, just it seemed like an unnecessarily kind of petty thing to do, because then he's done it so many times before. He's like any time she doesn't, like, clearly and directly respond with equal kind of fondness or equal attraction to him, he's just like, oh, but you'll be attracted to Angel but not me because he's the bad boy in leather and he's the vampire, and it's all like opposites attract and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, you know what, I think, you know, be grateful she's at least still willing to be friends with you. She still cares about you that much, and I think she you know, does definitely go so far as to directly and solidly reiterate just just how important you are in that aspect too. Like, being friends with someone is not some kind of one-off thing. It's not something to take for granted. Friends are still, you know, relationships can always end in different ways, but then if friendships end, then you know, that kind of stuff is easily more kind of detrimental to someone's kind of mental health and social life. And, you know, like, not having friends is, you know, not having a significant other can definitely, I think, in my opinion, it can be somewhat more manageable than not having friends. Not having friends just kind of means that, you know, like, you're that much more lonely in life, and you're that much more kind of, you know, alone and everything, as they've explored before, like in the actual previous kind of episode and everything. But, you know, relationships can take time. They're a lot more complex. They're a lot more complicated. There's varying different levels to that kind of stuff. So with this, him just kind of like not even directly, but I think him indirectly kind of like sidelining her kind of her desire to still be friends and to still be best friends and to still be that close with one another just kind of still irked me. But again, I'm guessing that's just, again, a product of the time. Like, back then, the way they portrayed relationships and friendships and the way they portrayed like attraction between two characters too. And especially between two straight characters, like between a man and a woman too. I think like the way they kind of portray those kind of boundaries and those kinds of, you know, interactions and everything would definitely be like a lot more kind of shady and like a lot more kind of like binary and like a lot more kind of, you know, like a lot simpler, but also like a lot more kind of what's the word, like not accepted, predictable. Like it'd be a lot more predictable too. Like you'd kind of like anticipate like one of the two parties actually kind of not taking things well, and then kind of still getting huffy and puffy, and maybe even actually pulling out some more sensitive kind of cards to throw in the other person's face. I think in this one he didn't do it brutally. I think he still did show like a sign of pettiness that really wasn't necessary. And he did still kind of go to that length. But I think he it's not like he actually put her on full blast and embarrassed her in front of the whole school, or just still let his emotions get the better of him. I think he's still left to try and process his own emotions. I think that much is still. I mean, I feel like that's still like baseline level stuff, but still. I think. I mean, on the one hand, we could have done without the angel stuff, but I think on the other hand, I think it was probably necessary to show that's that's how kind of like as of right now, that's how immature Xander is right now. He's still like he like like Buffy is just Buffy and Willow. Besides from the slaying stuff, Buffy and Willow and Xander are essentially the same. They're high school kids. They're teenagers. They're hormonal. They're kind of they're in that kind of environment and in that setting and in that mindset where they want to experiment. They want to kind of meet different people. They're kind of attracted to people almost randomly, and they're kind of willing to see where things go with different types of people and everything. So and I think especially with Xander too, I think he's kind of been portrayed to be very, very self-aware of exactly how kind of awkward he is and how undesirable he is in the eyes of common society. Like he's not like, I mean, he's handsome and stuff, but I think compared to someone like Mitch or compared to any one of the guys who actually kind of like plays sports or plays or like it is actually more conventionally attractive, he's like I think he definitely kind of feels and kind of is kind of aware that he may or like that he may as well not kind of meet that kind of standard. So I think because of that because that he definitely has like a harder time actually interacting with girls. In essence too, I think, and I mean I guess in some way I think that's also kind of like for lack of trying too, because I think we haven't, I think besides from Willow, we also really haven't seen him like actually try and make any friends with other girls either. Like I think he's slowly come to actually kind of be a bit more kind of outwardly kind of combative with Cordelia, like with Cordelia, like he has no problem bouncing her own sass back onto her. So I think he's kind of shown that he's definitely not he's into her in the fact that she's like a pretty girl and she's popular, but then he also knows that she also isn't really like that nice of a person or anything. So he in that way, and also in kind of similar way in other ways that they are pretty much incompatible. So he kind of has no problem kind of being that way with her. But then I think he's never shown to actually try and kind of talk to or befriend other girls. I think it seems like he's fine still having Willow as a friend. I think even with Willow too. I think with Willow he shows nothing. With Willow he shows no signs of affection. He considers her to be his best friend too. Like she's his Willow. Like in that sense that he will protect her. He'll kind of be her greatest friend, and he'll all that kind of stuff. But then with Buffy, she's the one he wants to be with. I think he definitely at least wants to actually try and have a relationship with her and see how it would go down. And actually see if they are compatible with that in that sense. But I think with Buffy, that kind of spark, that kind of initial fondness just isn't there. And I think again that's completely respectable. It's completely respectable, understandable, and it's like I think again in this kind of story, in this like when that scene kind of started, I was pretty much almost instantly kind of worried for like exactly what kind of direction they would take that in, and how they would portray Buffy and Xander to be in that thing. And again, not nearly as bad as I thought it would be, but still definitely kind of like. Again, I think on the one hand, room for improvement, but then on the other hand, I feel like maybe like actually showcasing them as those kinds of sensitive and really kind of emotionally reactive kind of teenagers, like them being the teenagers they are, being emotionally reactive, being sensitive, and not really taking things like that well. Obviously they need to be taught to handle it well, and they need to be taught to understand their emotions better and to understand other people better and to actually taught to socially interact in like an engaging and in like a positive and or at the very least like a neutral kind of way. But then seeing them like this also isn't the most kind of unrealistic thing in the world either. So I feel like they did like a pretty decent kind of job. So yeah. And yeah, I think like Willow and Xander, I think Willow, I'm really curious to know where they might go with Willow too. I think like not for any other reason if not like her thus far kind of attachment to Xander. Like she has shown the clearest, and I think honestly I feel like it's the most kind of heteronormative kind of attraction to Xander too. I feel like I think it definitely, I don't know if it's just me, but it definitely gives off the vibe that she, like because he's her only male friend so far, she definitely kind of has a, he's the only male friend that she has so far, but then they're also childhood friends, so there's a history between them, and a history and a bond that's been built up over years, and, you know, not even that hyena episode actually really properly broke it, because then he still came through in the end, and then they still saved him, so there's that, but then, with him being her, not only a childhood best friend, but then also being her only male friend in her life so far, like, she also equally hasn't really bothered to try and make any other guy friends either, but I think with her, she's also, like, so much more, I think they're both socially awkward in two different ways. I think he is outwardly confident, but just kind of mucks up everything he tries, but then with her, she, like, I think she kind of has that kind of fear, like, you know, oh, she doesn't know how to be confident like Xander, but then she's also not confident, and she doesn't know how to approach people like that, so then she kind of actively avoids doing that kind of thing, so she's very, very kind of socially repressed, and she just kind of doesn't really kind of, you know, do or like see people much besides from Buffy and Xander. And even with Buffy, I think with Buffy, maybe she feels like she got lucky actually having another girl in her life, and actually having someone like that to talk to and everything, so she feels very lucky in that regard. And with Mr. Giles, he's just like a cool mentor. He's just like a cool. She loves books. She's a bookworm. She's a bit of a nerd, and I think again, I already love that, you know, but I already love that Willow like unashamedly embraces her nerdiness and her geeky side with a passion. That is exactly my kind of girl. That is exactly my kind of character to actually, you know, fall in love with in a show like her just kind of being a nerd and loving it and actually being passionate about it and everything, like her, like, you know, books, computers, and even science. You know, like, I think, you know, school stuff, not really my kind of, not really my favorite thing in the world. But then I think me being like books and computers and all these different kind of genres of different things, like, I think her being into that just makes her all the more amazing in my eyes. So yeah, like, I think her actually embracing that side of her, and then of course I think in this guy, I think in that kind of society too, in that kind of time too, I think, you know, I think over time maybe it's kind of improved like just like a little bit, but then for the most part back then I think nerdiness and being like a high achiever in school and being that kind of like a part of that kind of sector of the kind of social clique definitely would have been looked down upon. So then if they're like her being nerdy to some people, to unideal, like to understandably incompatible people, she wouldn't have been very, very kind of desirable in that sense. But then with her, that's like Willow in that sense is ideal girlfriend material. She's ideal girlfriend material. So you know, she definitely kind of like embraces that side of her, but then I think she also does it for herself. I think that is also like one of the things that makes that so cool is that not only does she embrace it, but she embraces it for herself, and she also embraces it like her kind of like partially knowing that not really many other people are into it, or that, like, you know, even if someone else is into it, doesn't mean that they'll instantly be the one for her. But then with her, so I think because of that, because she isn't really looking for anyone else, I think she's also kind of projecting. I feel like she's actually projecting her own desires for romance and for an actual partner like that onto Xander too, because I think she's the only one he knows. She's the only one he knows. He's the only one she knows. She's known him for so long too, so I think it's easier to project onto someone she knows. And I think, you know, I think deep down she could easily also find Xander to be cute and handsome, and she could think of him as a good boyfriend. But then, you know, deep down, I think on the outside, I think she the part of her that's kind of like willing to accept that maybe things aren't really meant to be is also the part of her that's kind of like not really kind of pushing things ahead too much. So then maybe I think maybe it could be a mixture of her being too shy to say anything, but then also actually being like, you know, oh, like things might never work out, and it's easier to actually have that stuff going on in her head than to actually bring it to life and everything. So I think because of that, I'm kind of curious to know where they actually might go with her in that sense too. Like if she ever actually does kind of end up actually meeting someone and actually going out with them, or if she actually strays away from the area, or if she's just kind of like perfectly fine kind of being by herself or something. But either way, just, you know, more Willow Rosenberg content for me. All I need to continue watching Buffy. So Willow, easily so far my favorite. Willow is easily my favorite, easily the one I relate the most to, and, you know, like the person I actually kind of like, you know, kind of engage with a lot more when it comes to these kinds of kind of stories too. So Willow Rosenberg, just 100%. So, yeah. But yeah, and then we had Giles and Miss Calendar, Miss Jenny Calendar. She came back in, Miss Calendar, the one and only, the amazing Miss Calendar. Yeah, again, I totally remember her name straight away. You totally didn't see me hesitating for like 3 minutes, then actually trying to look back in my notes. it's been a long time. Like, I mean, it's been quite a few episodes. Okay, it's been quite a few episodes since we've actually seen her. So forgive me for allowing it to slip out of my head for like 1 second maximum. But no, Miss Calendar came back. Miss Jenny Calendar, as she is, Miss Jenny Calendar came back. And she was great, and so it was really fun. It was really fun to see her back. It was actually really fun to see her back, and she was back. She was helping with the law, helping them fight off the vamps and everything, and actually helping them, kind of sort out the prophecies. And I think even her actually still continuing her stuff in the back, like her being the kind of I think her, what did she call herself? She called herself something like a techno something. What did she call herself? A techno pagan. Well, yeah, techno pagan. So she sorts out the similar what Giles does with books. She does on computers. I think she does all of her lore hunting and all of her demon hunting and everything else on computers and everything. So she does that. So she works on computers and she's a computer scientist and expert herself. So she has no trouble dealing with technology and everything. So there's other things, so the similar stuff with the Master and the Anointed One and everything. She kind of was she had contacts, or she had contacts on the outside, people coming to her with theories and different articles and everything about kind of stuff happening all over the world and all over the country and everything. So, or probably all over the country, and then she had people coming into her, and then she actually had different theories on the net. So then she was working with Giles. So seeing her and Giles working together was a good. Seeing her and Giles working together was a really, really cool thing to see. So that was fun. So I mean, I do wonder if they might bring her into season 2, because I think in this finale, I think she didn't. I think she wasn't given like a huge amount to do. But I think she was here mostly just kind of cooperating with Giles and actually trying to find out what was going on, trying to get him to open up to her and everything, and actually trying to get some information out of him as to what was going on, so that she could have a better understanding. And she helped with actually fighting, and then in the actual final fight as well, actually trying to keep Willow, actually getting holding on tight to Willow, actually trying to keep her, from being actually kind of, absorbed and stuff by the Hellmouth thing. The Hellmouth monster, I did not see that one coming. I thought it would be like a literal flashy CGI portal to hell or something. I did not for a second think it would be like an actual kind of, organic kind of biological, hell monster thing with like a three-headed kind of Cerberus thing, but with tentacles and shit coming out of the ground and literally breaking through the floor of the library too, actually like having tentacles and like a giant kind of like a giant like a worm or something, like a worm but in Cerberus form. So I think, is it Cerberus? Am I pronouncing that right? Is it actually Cerberus? Let me look that up. Is it actually Cerberus? I'm thinking of the actual three-headed dog, right? The Hound of Hades, a multi-headed dog. I think it's usually got like 3 heads, right? Yeah, it's 3 heads. It's something like a worm, but in like actual Cerberus form. So yeah, so I was not expecting that final one. So then they're tentacles, and they kind of wrapped around Willow's leg, and they were trying to grab her up and everything. So Calendar should like actually held onto her really tight, and then Giles coming in too. Giles actually finally making a change and finally taking the fight to the monsters for once. Even, I mean, albeit it was in the library, it was still in the library. They wrecked his library, but I think that was finally the actual motivation that came in for him. Like they come to his home, they come into his turf and into his ground and everything. And they actually they decide to pick a fight on his home ground there, and then he comes in with like a hatchet and starts slicing him. I thought he'd go for the tentacles, but then I think with the head being as close as it was and the fangs being as sharp as they were, I think he did try and go for the actual head and try to kill the beast himself. So he still did his piece and everything. So everyone had like a thing to do. As established, so Miss Calendar was still helpful and very, very cooperative and very, very effective in the final battle. So hopefully we see more of her in the actual future, and hopefully like the next season has a bit more Calendar and Giles. So Jalander is what was the shit? I think was it Kyle's or Jalander, or I can't remember what the actual pairing name was, but either way, more Giles and Calendar in season 2, please and thank you. So Yeah. Angel has been really fun. I think this season too. I think Angel, being introduced to Angel, being shown Angel. I think he was one of the few things I knew about coming into this too. So I think again, I think personally, because I also still kind of knew so little about him as a character. I think all I knew about him was that he was a vampire. So I think didn't know what kind of vampire he was. Didn't know if he was good or bad. I mean, didn't fully know if he was good or bad. Didn't know when the reveal would happen. Didn't know how his story would end here. So fully expected that him leaving in that earlier episode would be the last we see of him, but then he came back in like a king. So yeah, being introduced to him has been really fun. He's really cool, and I think no, I actually don't. I think I looked it up on the actual Buffy kind of archive PDF thing a few days ago, just to kind of actually clarify in my head, and I've forgotten it again. I keep looking it up, then I keep remembering, and then I keep forgetting. It's like a routine thing, so I need to go back and actually check exactly when it is that his show starts, because he's got a show coming up, like not soon, but like soon-ish. So I think I need to kind of just be ready for that, because I think I've heard that that same list kind of shows off exactly when after each Buffy episode that his episodes take place too. So I think eventually his story starts and it actually kind of runs in sequence with the Buffyverse as well. So the Buffyverse is expansive. The Buffyverse is expansive, and it's got its own schedule and its own timetable and everything. So that's cool. But looking forward to seeing how his story continues on here, and then eventually how it kind of diverges onto his own path and what he goes on to doing and everything. So looking forward to that, and just generally, I mean, assuming he actually does show up in season 2 and whatever, I think looking forward to seeing like what more they do with him on this show, and actually what more they actually kind of like maybe what more they tease on this show before they kind of go on to here, because I'm not sure if they actually wanted to do his spin-off or if they just kind of got rid of him on here, and then there were other people who actually had ideas of what to do with him on his own show and everything. So either way, just looking forward to seeing what more they can actually do with him and how they incorporate him into the future stories and everything. So that'd be cool. But yeah, David Boreanaz, I believe is how you say it. Angel, he's great. He's so great. I think him and Buffy kind of like definitely get along well. I think I'm hoping it's also a case of like the actors themselves actually getting along well in their case, because then otherwise the acting between them is too good, and everything to be true. So I'm hoping the actors themselves are on good terms and very, very good kind of natural chemistry between them, so that that way it makes more sense as to how they look so good together on camera and everything. So that's really fun. So can't wait to see more of him. And he's been really fun this season too, actually. And I think it's seeing his origin story. I think his origin story is something I never actually would have expected either. I think his origin story being him actually starting off like the casual vampire way and actually being really savage and brutal, but then eventually like the Romani tribe actually restoring his soul and actually giving him his conscience back and actually making him feel the weight of all the stuff he's done. Like that kind of a twist is something I never would have imagined. So that was really cool. So looking forward to seeing how we go forward with him and Buffy from here too. And actually, I'm hoping we can actually see more of him with the team too. I think seeing him with Buffy is cool and all, but I think seeing him with Buffy only and actually seeing him without the team like feels a bit too angsty for my like. I think I would like for there to be more interactions between and engagements between him and the team, but then also some civility between him and Xander too. I'm hoping Xander can mature a bit over the next season, actually kind of start to kind of grow a bit and actually start to gain some kind of self kind of awareness in a more positive sense, and actually try and improve upon himself a little bit, and actually because I feel like Xander and Angel as friends would actually be really cool to work, right? Like the two human and vampire bros just in the thing, and maybe even, hey, who knows, but maybe bring Giles in. I think Angel is older than both of them combined, so Giles should realistically have no problem being the second. Like realistically, he would be the second oldest in that trio. He'd be the second oldest in that kind of a trio. So there should be no problems with the age there. But hopefully we can actually see more of them actually getting along well together and actually working well together and everything. So here's hoping. So Angel was cool. And yeah, that so far are all my initial thoughts for the episode itself. Those are all my initial thoughts of the episode. And yeah, that is me on Buffy season 1. That is me on Buffy the Vampire Slayer season number 1. So yeah, this has been so much fun. This has been so much fun. Did not think it would be nearly this fun when I was first getting into it. I think again, like I said before, I anticipated a lot more kind of cheesiness and like old-timey kind of like all these like kind of older generational kind of writing and stuff. I didn't really think it would be as much fun as it was getting into, but it's so good. It's still, I'd say it still definitely stands the test of time. Like, it's definitely still enjoyable in today's day and age too. Even with all the stuff we got going on today, and with all the stuff we got coming out today, it's definitely still enjoyable and everything. It's been so much fun to discover this properly for the first time, you know, and it's been like a really interesting journey in terms of actual TV writing and stuff to get into. And even like with this genre, with me already being so passionate and so kind of familiar with this genre, it's been like a really interesting thing to kind of engage in that regard too. So there's that. But more than that, thank you to all of you who have been there, you know, at home or wherever, and like watching this however you are, just kind of, you know, supporting these reactions, being so welcoming with my very first episode. The very first episode, I still remember, you know, like how many people came in commenting, being like, "Oh, I'm so excited you're starting this show," and actually being so excited to actually get into a new series like that with me as well, and actually joining the channel too. Just the biggest thanks to all of you for being here and supporting me and just kind of, you know, joining me on all my laughs and cries and cheers and everything, as per usual with all my shows, as per usual, just the usual kind of, you know, style of reactions and everything. So thanks to all of you. You know, it's been just this first season alone has been honestly like the most like some of the most kind of spontaneous kind of emotions I've ever felt in a long time, in like quick succession too, like episode after episode, just kind of being something new and something different and something wild to enjoy. So that's been really great. So thank you to all of you who have supported in like however you have, if it's just with the channel, if it's with the channel and the Patreon, it's like however you've supported, however you've been here, we're engaging with the channel, watching the videos and leaving, you know, really cool comments for me to read. Just thank you to all of you. It's been great. And of course, would not be amiss without a thank you to fellow reactors as well. Most notably, Liam Duke, the one and only Dukester, the one and only Duke of Swindon, Liam Duke, and of course Liam Katzen too. Both of them having very vibrantly and loudly advocated for this show to at least be on my watch list and everything. Actually getting me into the show and encouraging it and talking about how great it is, and actually encouraging me to get into it, and also just equally supporting me when I actually started reacting to the show too. I think they have. I'm pretty sure they both actually finished the series by now too. I think Duke is still probably. I still see like Angel stuff coming out from him every now and then too. So I think he's still getting through that. I don't know whereabouts Katzen is. If you guys are watching them, then you're more familiar with their journey than I am. But thanks to both of them for the support too. I love you guys. You're amazing. But yeah, no, it's been great. It's been really great, and I'm really glad to actually be a part of the Buffy, to at least be considered a part of the Buffy reactor community, the reactor community too, despite how kind of early on in the actual show. Because I think I know season 1 again. I think. I feel like it's definitely one of those shows where the first season is so kind of simplistic and baseline that it's really not really considered to be much. But then in terms of introduction, it's great. But I'm fully kind of aware that the kind of real meatier, really juicier parts of the story don't take place until much later. So then, you know, the later seasons ahead of me are the real kind of treats to get into and real kind of, you know, bigger bits to get into. So I'm really excited and really looking forward to actually getting into the future seasons and then the future of the show itself, and actually sharing it all with you guys as per usual. So yeah, thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for sticking up with me, actually, for, you know, sticking up with the channel and sticking up for the channel and being here and everything. And I really can't wait to share season 2 reactions with you all when that comes down, which will be quite soon. So, you know, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, if you're still somehow new here, then welcome to the channel. This is where we watch Buffy, among a myriad of other things and everything. So yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting, and thank you for being you. You are amazing. So thank you for being that, and everything. So yeah, I think that's it. That's pretty much it. I think I need to actually, you know, try and go and get this and other stuff edited and up in time. So yeah, that is pretty much all my initial thoughts. Initial. I think, knowing me, I'll probably come up with something else long after I've recorded or something. So that's just me. That's just how my brain works. It doesn't really come up with more until later on. So yeah, that was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 1, episode number 12, the season 1 finale. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like, and any comments on what you thought of this finale, what you thought of the season, what your favourite bits were, what your less favourite bits were, and how you felt about this as a season, and how you felt about this as an introduction to Buffy, and any kind of thoughts you have in that regard. Absolutely feel free to leave them. I would love to hear what you think. The full-length reaction, as always, will be over on Patreon, so you can go, for those interested, you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is pretty much it for me. So until next time, bye bye for now.